This is the Curtis Harwell Show. Be on in 5 seconds. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic day. This is December the 14th, 2015. We're getting closer to Christmas every day. You are listening to the Curtis Harwell Talk radio show, the most listened to fitness show on the internet and in America, with over 5 million listens and closing in on 6 million every day. I'm your host, Curtis Harwell, and thank you again for being with us today down here in the studios in sunny Austin, Texas. Hopefully, I'll discuss a topic to help you to a better and healthier lifestyle today. I try to do that every week. And again, I want to thank you, the listeners, that make the show what it is. If you'd like to call into the show today, you can call in at 347-850-8748. Or you can get me at Curtis Harwell on Facebook. You can get me at Curtis Harwell Fit on Facebook. Or you can also get me at Curtis Harwell Fit Talk Radio Show page on Facebook. On Twitter, you can get me at Curtis Harwell BB for bodybuilder. And again, we're going to have another terrific show today. Our advertisers today are Titan Fitnesswear, and you can get Titan Fitnesswear at titanfitnesswear.com. Tank tops, hoodies, t-shirts, everything shipping for Christmas. Head on over, take a look at the logos. Great prices. Not too many people are going to beat the prices, and everything is shipping. So head on over to Titan Fitnesswear. Look at some terrific fitness gear. Get your order in today to get it before Christmas. Also, our other sponsor today is Michelle's Magic Morsels. This is IFBB Pro Michelle Brent's company. Terrific protein cookies made with that good old-fashioned taste. She's got some actually some new cookies that just came out. I had one the other day. I think it was cranberry, and it was absolutely fantastic. So check out Michelle Brent's website at michellesmagicmorsels.com for just a variety of flavors that she has. And if you mention this show, you get 3 free cookies with your order. Also, Michelle will be with us on Friday, and we will have Bob Thompson with the GBO organizations, one of the new bodybuilding fitness organizations, and Bob Thompson will be with us on Friday. Today, another terrific show. I did a little Periscope. I'm doing Periscope now, and this show is also being videotaped for YouTube. So if you want to do the type of simulcast where you see me doing the show here in the studio, it will be on YouTube, usually 10 to 15 minutes after the show. So if you want to take a look at the show, what it looks like live in the studio, you can do that. Today's show, we're going to discuss the benefits of protein. And I know we all think we know everything that there is to know about protein. But I tell you what, I think the more that we think we know about the protein, I think the less you actually know about protein. Because a lot of the stuff that you get about protein basically is all of the companies trying to sell you whey protein, the candy bars, and pretty much a lot of the protein bars are nothing more than candy. So, all of these different places are trying to sell you nothing but protein, protein, protein. And I do think that there is a certain segment out there that absolutely is not getting enough protein, and then there's another segment out there that just getting way too much damn protein. I mean, it's absolutely crazy the amount of protein that I know that I talk to some people that they're taking in. I'm a competitive bodybuilder, been doing this since I was 13 years old, and I got to tell you, I think that's probably part of the reason some of these folks, when they get up into their 50s, 60s, and if they're lucky enough to make it to the 70s, that your kidneys are basically saying bye bye because of other factors too of PEDs, but also the amount of protein that people are taking in. And so first, let me start out. What is protein? Now, we all know and think we know what protein is, but actually, really, what is it? Now, what are the best sources and how much do you need? Those are also questions too. Now, your body is made up of about 75% protein. So it is absolutely necessary to eat the adequate amounts, and especially important or if you're building muscle. So if you're building muscle, you can't do it without the protein. That's why with my clients and people that I work with, and when I go out and talk to organizations and give speeches and lectures, I'm always really pushing protein, not necessarily the total amount, but getting protein, and especially if you're in a situation that you're trying to build muscle, you have to have protein. Now, protein is made up of what are called amino acids. Now, amino acids are known, and you probably have heard, are the building blocks of protein. Now, there are about 20 different amino acids, but there are 8 essentially amino acids. Now, these 8 essential amino acids are amino acids that your body does not naturally make. So your body naturally makes 12 amino acids. The other 8 amino acids the body does not make, and that's why these are called essential amino acids, because you have to essentially get them from other sources. Okay? Now, what is protein? What is it used for, and what does it do? Now, simply put, protein aids in the recovery and growth of the muscles after a workout at the gym or wherever you're at. Okay, so protein aids in the recovery and the growth of muscle. Now, protein helps repair the ripped or damaged muscles, allowing them to grow bigger and stronger, and in an attempt to cope with the next gym workout that's coming up. Now, once you increase the intensity or weight used in your workout, you will be able to rip or damage your muscles again, so the cycle restarts. So it's a continual process. Uh, and so, what is protein powder? Okay, so now we've covered, what protein is, and everybody wants to know what is protein powder, what's in protein powder. Now, protein powder is a supplement used by bodybuilders to help supplement their protein intake. Now, regular people, everyday people, just trying to get fit, doing CrossFit, whatever, they're now using protein powders. For years, it was just pretty much bodybuilders that were doing it. Now, you ask, okay, protein powders, what is whey protein? Now, over the years, researchers have found that whey protein is the highest quality protein that you can consume, proving that it can be essential for helping your body maintain and build lean muscle and recover from intense training. Now, this is in conjunction with a good diet. Okay, now whey protein is a mixture of globular proteins that have been isolated from whey. Okay, now whey is made from the liquid material, which is created as a byproduct of cheese production. You probably never knew that. Now, there are 2 different kinds of protein powders. We have protein isolate and whey. Now, again, there are two types of whey protein, and these are isolate and concentrate. Okay, now the only difference is the way that they are extracted. Okay, so you'll see this on containers. You'll see isolate, and then you'll see concentrate. Okay, and a lot of times it'll say isolate or just whey. Okay, now overall, the better choice is whey protein isolate. Now, this is because isolate has a higher absorption rate, a higher percentage of protein per scoop, as well as an overall better amino acid profile. Okay. Now, again, what is a complete protein? And this will make sense for vegetarians. Now, um, the best sources of protein is found in sufficient quantities of meat and fish. Now, high sources of protein can also be found in seeds and nuts, but seeds and nuts are not complete proteins. Okay, now a complete protein, also known as a whole protein, is a source of protein that contains an almost equal amount proportion of all of the essential amino acids. Okay. Now, by almost equal proportion, we mean that all of the essential amino acids are near to an equal amount. Now, if a food contains all essential amino acids, but one is much lower value, it is not a complete protein. Okay. Now, again, the best sources of protein, we're looking at meat and fish. And you can find high sources of seeds and nuts, but they're not complete proteins. Okay. Now, and they have a high portion for by proportion, they have a high amount of protein, but you have to eat something else such as milk, meat, chicken, cheese, whatever, with the seeds and nuts to make them a complete protein. Okay. Now, vegetable protein also contains some of the amino acids, but with a lower nutrient value. So you can again get protein from vegetables, but you're going to have to complement it with something that has the 8 essential amino acids in proportion, so you can use the whole protein. Okay. One big important question out there: how much is your protein intake should be per day? As it depends on your lifestyle, uh, male, female, whether you're exercising, building muscle, or trying to lose weight. All of these things come into play. Okay, with that. So it is just very important. Again, I usually recommend about a half a gram of protein per pound of lean muscle mass. So if you're 150 pounds, I recommend at a minimum of 75 grams of protein. Now, again, if you're exercising, doing all of these, if you're trying to put on muscle, you're trying to do all these other things, you can add to that. A good number is 1 gram of protein uh, um, per pound of lean muscle mass. So, for example, if you weigh 200 pounds, but your lean muscle mass, after looking at your body fat percentage, let's say is 25%, that is the number, less the 25% of body fat. That's the number that you go by for your protein. Because just remember, as I stated in my Periscope show today, if you eat too much protein, that excess protein will go to fat. The only time that you're going to use the protein for energy is when your carbohydrate intake is very, very low, but your body does not like using protein that you consume for energy. It is not a good, clean way to get energy. So The body does not like doing that. Now, let's look at some of the benefits and risk. Let's say if you want to do a high protein diet, okay, uh, uh, it is absolutely understandable all of the stuff that you read about going on the high protein diets and the weight that you can lose in that. And the operative word there is weight. You should be worried about fat, not weight. Problem is when you go on the very high protein diets, low carbohydrate diets, that your body loses so much water. That's why you lose just an inordinate amount of weight because of the water. And where does the water come? 80% of muscle is water. So in turn, if you're losing all of the water, when you go on to high protein diets, you're going to lose muscle. Even though you're consuming all of that protein, you're still going to lose muscle because the body's going to use that muscle for energy. So it is very important, if you can, to stay away from these high protein diets. Now, protein is an important component of every cell in the body. We're talking hair and nails are mostly made of protein. Okay, your body uses protein to build and repair tissues. Now, you also use protein to make enzymes, hormones, and other body chemicals. Protein is an important building block of bones, muscle, cartilage, skin, and blood. Protein makes up all of that. Now, along with fat and carbohydrates, protein is also known as a macronutrient, meaning that the body needs relatively large amounts of it. So a macronutrient is fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, and they're called macronutrients because the body needs large amounts of it. Now, vitamins and minerals, which are needed in only small quantities, are called micronutrients. But unlike fat and carbohydrates, the body does not store protein and therefore has no reservoir to draw on when it needs a new supply. Okay, and I already mentioned that the body does not store protein. When you consume protein, it uses what it needs at that immediate time within a few hours for muscle repair and the other things that the body, because 75% of the body is protein, it's going to use it. Any excess is going to go to fat. Okay, now high protein diets, do they work? Okay, so many assume the solution is to eat protein all day, all day, all day. And most nutritionists and myself say no, that is not the answer. The truth is, we need less protein than you might think, but we all could benefit from getting more protein from better sources, better food sources. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you some numbers here, and I know most of you who are, this is not necessarily for you bodybuilders out there, but most of you are going to scoff at these numbers because of everything that you read on all of these blogs, and a lot of times, a lot of stuff in the blogs and articles and things that you're reading, they're trying to get you to purchase protein powder. So they're going to give you these crazy, crazy numbers of the protein that they think that you should be taking in. And basically all you're doing is taking your money and getting fatter and pissing it down the toilet. So I'm going to give you some information that you might scoff at a little bit, but it's not too far off from the truth. Okay, now we've all heard the myth that extra protein builds more muscle. In fact, the only way to build muscle is through exercise. Okay, you have to have exercise to build muscle because you have to tear down the muscle, you have to shred it, rip it up so you can repair it. Okay, now the body generally needs a modest amount of protein to function and function well. Now, Extra protein doesn't give you any extra strength. So I know people that are doing 300, 400 grams of protein a day. It's not doing a bit of good for you. And these are folks that are on PEDs, not on PEDs, doing anywhere from 300, 400, 250 grams of protein per day. Okay. Your body needs a modest amount of protein to function well. Now, again, it doesn't give you any extra strength. Okay, now here's some recommendations. These are general recommendations. Now, teenage boys, active men can get all of the protein that they need from 3 daily servings for a total of about 7 ounces of protein a day, believe it or not. Okay, now that's a minimum. Okay, we're talking minimum. We're not talking about an exorbitant amount. We're not talking about bodybuilding. We're talking about the average person out there, you know, 7, 8 ounces of protein per day is all you need to get your protein numbers. Now, for kids age 2 to 6, and most women and older people, okay, we're talking about 2 daily servings a day for a total of 5 to 6 ounces. Okay. Now, again, these are minimums. We're not talking about in the gym, training, doing all of those things. We're talking minimums, okay? Now, for older children, teenage girls, active women, and most men, okay, uh, we're talking about 2 daily servings at least minimum. Now, remember, we're talking minimums for a total of 6 to 8 ounces per day, okay? Okay, now, so think about it. Anybody who eats an 8 ounce steak, typically served in a restaurant, is getting more protein than your body needs because you've eaten protein throughout the day, and now you sit down and you eat 8 ounces. And we're talking average people, regular people. Okay, we're not talking bodybuilders. Half of it's going to fat, okay? So, and then also, when you're eating that kind of protein, just think, about the hefty amount of artery clogging saturated fat as well. And heart disease is killing this country. So watch what you eat, please. Now, the drawbacks of a high protein diet. Okay, many people who've jumped on the high protein, low carbohydrate bandwagon, and you know who you are, you're listening to the show right now, okay, think that they can pack away as much protein as they like. But I urge you to do that with caution, okay? The reasons why have to do with how high protein, low carb diets are thought to lead to weight loss. And it's craziness, okay? When people eat lots of protein and few carbohydrates, their metabolisms turn into a state which is called ketosis, okay? And you may have heard that word before. Now, ketosis means the body converts from burning carbs for fuel to burning its own fat for fuel. Now, when fat is broken down, small bits of carbons or carbon called ketones are released into the bloodstream as energy sources. Now, ketosis, which also occurs in diabetes, tends to suppress appetite, causing people to eat less, and it also increases body elimination of fluids through urine, resulting in a loss of water weight. So when you go on the high protein diets, as I mentioned before, your body starts kicking out water because of ketosis. And then, so where's the water come from? The water comes from your muscle. That is where the water is at, okay? Now, and that's not healthy. Now, let's say a high protein diet like the Atkins diet, it can trade short-term benefits for long-term health consequences. Among the risk, the body produces ammonia when it breaks down protein, and we still don't know the long-term risk and effects of high levels of ammonia in the body, but I can tell you it's not good. It's not good. Now, there also is evidence to suggest that people who eat high protein diets, low carbohydrate diets, excrete excess calcium in their urine. Okay. Now, this suggests that the body is releasing stores of calcium into your bloodstream to counteract an increase in acids caused by protein consumption. Okay. Now, calcium is used as a buffer or a neutralizer for acids. Now, too much calcium loss could lead to osteoporosis down the road, especially for you women. Now, and lastly, there are the obvious concerns, okay? Carbohydrates foods shunned by some people on low carb diets include fruits and vegetables, which these are the best sources for vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants. And all of these help prevent disease. And the antioxidants are absolutely essential for cholesterol. And the higher levels of your antioxidants, the better that your good cholesterol numbers go up, which then they protect the arteries and the veins of your heart, okay, which is essential to long life. By contrast, animal foods that are high in protein are usually high in saturated fats, which increase the risk of what? Number one, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and the big C, cancer. Okay. Now, it is also recommended by the American Heart Association that reducing consumption of carbs usually means other higher fat foods are being eaten instead. So you're eating something. So when the good carbohydrates, the complex carbohydrates, high in fiber, all of those things that you need anywhere from 20 to 30 grams of fiber per day. If you're not getting that, you're killing yourself. Okay, this raises your cholesterol levels even more, and also increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. Okay, now it is also known that proteins, when you're doing these high protein sources and skipping carbs, you dieters may be getting too much salt, not enough calcium, not enough potassium or magnesium, which are typically found again in fruits, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. So you need to get off of this kick on high protein diets. Protein you have to have, and is essential. A lot of people that I meet every day in my life with my clients, they're not consuming enough protein, but there's a lot of people out there that are just consuming too much protein. I know when somebody tells me that they're having 3 to 4 protein shakes a day, 60 grams of protein, in each shake, just right there. Okay, let's say we have 4. That's 240 grams of protein right there, and that person probably doesn't weigh $180. It's absolutely crazy. So, so it is essential that we watch our protein levels and choose your proteins wisely. The type of protein you eat may play a role in successful weight loss and in your overall health. Okay, consumption of large quantities of processed meats like hot dogs, sausages, deli meats, all of these have been linked to an increase in type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, colorectal cancer, and you'll also have a harder time maintaining weight if you eat these proteins often, uh, and you're damaging your body. So, you know, I recommend getting dietary proteins from the following sources. And quickly, we're talking fish, poultry, beans, nuts, whole grains, those kinds of things. Remember, you have, when you do the whole grains and the veggie and the nuts and stuff, you have to complement those for complete protein. Do beef lean, pork lean, and you'll do fantastic job. Well, everybody have a fantastic day. We'll see you on the flip side on another show. And if not, listen to us on Friday with Michelle, and we'll have Bob Thompson on Friday. You have a fantastic day. Thank you for listening.